I was working for the National Choir, I was covering Mitt Romney and his alleged affair with a prostitute.
Mm-hmm. You say alleged. Is that journal speak or is that?
Well, to this day, I don't. No one really. Only that they know.
Right.
They did.
Right.
Unless there's like videotape, it's always like alleged, right?
Right.
Or some kind of hardcore evidence to prove without a shadow of a doubt.
Yep.
There was a lot of evidence that pointed to this, that it was true, but if all of it did happen, what the hooker claimed happened. And by the way, she didn't like reach out to us. Like I had to like hunt her down, and they tried to get her to talk for like 2 years, and she wouldn't. So it's not like she was like trying to get money or fame or anything.
Yeah.
He was really smart about it. Like he left no paper trail. Like one of his associates would contact her. It was never him or his number or his phone.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, down to I'd be like, well, then how did he get paid? Like how did he give you money? Like without leaving his prints on it. And she's like, oh, he would say your donations in the drawer before I'd leave, and so he never even touched the money that the envelope was in. So he knew what he was doing if if everything's true. Or we were gonna go to press with it. I got all the evidence that I could get. I got her to admit everything on camera, and the only thing that we needed to do for the lawyers to approve it was to get her to take a polygraph test and pass it. And she agreed to take the test. And at the very last minute, she just went missing.
She disappeared, huh?
She's not dead. And I've had people die before. They were about to Jay-Z knocked off one of his mistresses right before she was gonna go public. So, but she's still alive because I can see her social media. So who knows? Maybe she was paid off. Who knows? It would have been the best story. The stuff she told me. Oh my god. She claimed that Mitt Romney was in golden showers and he would pee on her and piss in martini glasses and ask her to drink the martini. But that's a lot of times it's the people that pretend they're super religious that are the ones that are doing the crazy behind closed doors. And
Has that been your experience? Have
Yeah.
you had other stories like that?
Yeah, the politicians. First of all, there's been so many politicians that have become senators, members of Congress, that have voted against gay rights bills,
Mm-hmm.
and then we find out years later that they're fully gay. Some have even come out as being gay. It's what I mean. It's the people that are the most religious or the most anti-gay. If you're super anti-gay, you're probably gay. If you're like Mitt, super religious, he's Mormon, technically, he's never ever even supposed to see his wife naked, and when they have sex, he has to keep the Mormon traditional undergarments on. A lot of people that worked for Mitt, they were sloppy. Mitt wasn't sloppy, but one of his lawyers and aides, they were sloppy, and they were dumb enough to text her and stuff like that. So I could prove really easily that his people were sleeping with hookers, but he was true. I knew that Caitlyn Jenner was Caitlyn Jenner 20 years ago. And it's funny because people, 20 years ago, I'd be yeah, Bruce Jenner is a woman. He dresses up as a woman at night and wants to transition. And, no one believes it. And then sure enough, 10 years later, oh, guess you weren't crazy. That was true. When you pick up a tablet, when you pick up a National Enquirer or Star or Us, and some of them are exaggerated or made up stories that seem the most ridiculous are the ones that are usually
needlessly strict personal standards of conduct like that.
Yeah.
In the privacy of your own home with your own spouse, you have to adhere to all these religious rituals because that system is inherently wicked.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
People are just reacting to that. I can't speak for all deviants, but that in particular, it's ridiculous. True Christians, of whom I happen to be one, we understand that the Bible doesn't lay 1,500 or 15 different, rules for how to have sex with your wife. So
I know.
But when people start layering on those man-made restrictions, then people are going to rebel against that. They already rebel against what God does say. But when you add on 1,500 other layers, it's a recipe for disaster. That's why you have Catholic priests. They are, by nature, men with sex drives. And when you put this artificial restriction on them saying you can't have a spouse, then they go and have sex with the nurses get babies go get buried under churchyards, and they have, they they unfortunately molest small children.
Sick.
It's very sick, but it all stems from the fact that when you try to put artificial rains on natural processes, it doesn't turn out well, ever.
So that's how the devil operates. He hides in plain sight and projects this image of holiness. And
yeah, I agree.
well, look at Bill Cosby, going on tours, like chastising black communities and how to raise your children and this and that, and meanwhile he's been drugging and raping women for like 30 years.
Yeah.
Like,
it's human nature though to present something on the outside and be really passionate about it, and then internally, if you don't have the heart that matches the message, you're gonna live a life of total crap in private.
I think it's like no conscience. Like, I could never do that.
Well, the conscience becomes seared when you ignore it enough. Conscience is like a voice. It's something God's put in each of us. It's a general sort of alarm. It affirms when we do things that are consistent with His law, and it accuses us when we do things inconsistent with His law. The conscience can be improperly informed. It can be informed by false information, and then eventually become dulled and start pointing crookedly. B, even if it is properly informed, it can be, you can just ignore it, and that's, the Bible calls that, when people do that, it's like their conscience is seared, like it's burned on the edge, and it's no longer functioning properly.
What do you think about the Book of Revelation? I was like watching a video last night that was like talking about all the events the Book of Revelation has predicted, and talking about the prediction of America's demise. And
I come from the camp that believes that the Book of Revelation is not all allegory. There are actually literal elements.
Yeah.
It's not all literal from front to end.
Okay.
But the message on balance is literal. It is pointing to a future events. It's called the Eschaton.
So do you think that we're in the end times now?
Well, here's the thing. Yes is the short answer. The longer answer is the end times have been upon us ever since Christ walked the earth. The Bible makes it clear nobody knows when the very end is going to come. It's going to come as a surprise to everyone. So anyone, and there have been guys come out and they say, March 23rd, 2017.
I know, right?
That's the Bible explicitly decries that sort of foretelling.
Yeah.
It says no one knows. Only God knows. I'm convinced that the Book of Revelation does teach accurately what will happen in a future time. There are metaphorical elements used to give that information. It's not all literal, but it's not all allegory either. Yeah. It's a mixture, but America is not mentioned in the Bible at all.
Well, but like I was watching this video last night, or 2 nights ago, I can't remember, but they were talking about how America isn't mentioned at all, but they think that the references to the New Babylon is America, and they talk about how Babylon's gonna fall, and like this one Bible, like, what's it called, professor or stuff, like whatever you call researcher, had a lot of evidence pointing to that. Like, he definitely been studying the Bible and teaching as a professor for 30 years.
Yeah.
And this video, but one of the things that did piss me off about the video is that, like, he's talking about how he thinks that we're gonna go to war, and a lot of people are in on it. He thinks the Pope knows what's gonna happen, and some people in the Catholic Church knows what's gonna happen, and he thinks that, like, Obama knows a little bit, but, like, it says in the Bible Babylon's going to go to war with someone from the north. He believes that that's Russia and that's Putin, and he's going to launch an what's it called, the EMP, the
thing that knocks out electronics.
Right. And he said that's going to happen in 2017, and, like, his theory is backed up, and I found it very compelling. What pissed me off is, like, at the end of the video, he's selling a product on how to survive. Even if you research the stuff on your own, like, you need my product because you won't be able to figure out all the things that I've figured out. And it was just like, almost like, I was like so turned off, and I was like,
yeah, you were right to be.
But I do think that there's a lot of things that he talked about that could be accurate.
Well, I think he's completely wrong about America being Babylon.
I don't know. I've never seen so much evil exposed these past few years, and the amount of corruption in our government around the world, like everything that's going on right now. I've worked in the White House, I've worked in government, and I've worked behind the scenes, and so I kind of have an edge as to what really goes on.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, there's always been corruption, there's always been evil, there's always been going down, but like I've never seen it to this level, like, of insanity in my lifetime, and it makes me think that there's just gonna be some, like, there's gonna be a huge shift.
Well, that is true. That's true. I would not be inclined to nail it down even to a year.
Yeah.
Because again, nobody knows.
I think something's gonna happen this year. I wouldn't be
2016.
Yeah.
Oh.
Like, I wouldn't be surprised if the elections didn't happen. I wouldn't be surprised if there was like another 9/11. I mean, we're moving that direction.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't be surprised if there was like a catastrophic event, like an earthquake that was like just, I don't know. I just have a gut
We'll
feeling.
see.
I guess we'll see. Hopefully we'll survive without that guy's kit.